Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Alif here. Today I'm gonna kind of share with you what co-sleeping has been like for us and kind of show you the new arrangement that we have, which is the sidecar arrangement. So when we had Maya, we had her next to our bed in one of those like rock and plays. We would kind of go back between like a rock and play and like we have one of those really pretty like shop love dua design dua, that's what it's called, a design dua bassinet with a snuggle me on the inside of it. So we'd kind of do like that. We would probably do that for day naps, and then we would put her in the rock and play at night. So we had her next to us, and every now and then after she turned 2 months, we'd bring her into the bed with us, if only if I needed to, like for breastfeeding reasons. And then I want to say like going into month 3, I probably felt a little bit more comfortable, and there were times where she actually has slept in the bed all night with us. But it wasn't until she outgrew the rock and play, which was around like 4.5 months, that we took her completely out of that, and we would kind of do our bed, try to put her in the crib. Maya has always been a terrible sleeper, so we would have some success during the day for naps to either be in the bassinet or be in her crib, and then at nights she pretty much slept with us. When we got to 6.5 to 7 months, I was trying really hard to get her into the crib, mainly because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. Like I thought that like I needed to maybe start sleep training. So I was looking at like gentle ways to do it because I didn't feel comfortable with the crying it out method, or some of the other methods that are not as gentle. But anyway, so I didn't really even know what the term, like I had never heard of the term co-sleeping, to be honest, until much more recently. So we tried to get her into the crib. It was horrible. It really didn't work out. But we wanted to stick to our guns. So every night we try to put her down. Sometimes we would be successful, but then she would wake up in a couple hours, and then we'd like bring her back into the bed. So we did that for a little while, and then one day I got to a point where I was like, okay, like I need to get her into the crib because that's what everybody's doing, and like she's at that age where like she needs to be sleeping independently, just because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. So I was like, okay, well, there's this like super gentle sleep training thing that I can do that I found online, and it was like you leave them in the room for like 5 minutes, and then you come in every 5 minutes until they like put themselves down for a nap by themselves. Yeah, Maya would cry and cry and cry, and my heart would break. We did that for 3 days, and on the 3rd day, my mother-in-law was at the house, and she was sitting in the living room, and I had Maya in her room in the crib, and I was watching her on a monitor, and it was probably like my third like 5 minute, like I was in the third 5 minute interval, and I was like bawling my eyes out watching her bawl her eyes out in her room, and I'm on the other side of the door, and she comes up to me because she hears me crying, and she's like, what are you doing? She's like, this, you shouldn't be like this, she shouldn't be like this, like why? Go hold your baby, like if she wants to snuggle up with you, snuggle up with your baby. I don't know what I needed. I guess I really needed to hear that at that moment, but after that it just kind of hit me. I was like, fuck this, like why am I making myself this uncomfortable because what, everybody else is doing it? By the way, not everybody else is doing it, but once again, I didn't really know much about co-sleeping or actually how common it is. Well, it was definitely more common back in the day, but even now it's pretty common still. More common over in Europe, and like the Middle East, and honestly everywhere but America. It's far more common, but it's becoming more common, I guess, as we are having this conversation and as social media is growing and more people are sharing what they're doing. So anyway, we got to, after that, probably around like month 9, and we were like, okay, well, like Maya would sleep for nap times in her crib pretty successfully, so we would just kind of say, okay, well, we're gonna put her in the crib at nights if she lets us. So once again, we went back to that idea, but we weren't doing any sort of sleep training. It was just, we would rock her, I would breastfeed her to fall asleep, and then I would put her in a crib and no problems. We did that for like 2.5 to 3 months, and that worked. But even in that time, if she woke up any time in the night, I would come and grab her and I would bring her back into the bed, just because I was breastfeeding and she was a terrible sleeper. We would have nights where she would wake up 5 times a night, and I am just not going to kill myself and like walk to the other side of the house 5 times in a night, take her out, which actually, like, I would lose more sleep doing that. Whereas I would, versus having her in the bed with me. I'm gonna go on a little so I'm gonna come back to what I'm saying, my little story. But I do want to say that, like, you can lose more sleep by co-sleeping, depending, but if you are breastfeeding, you're probably going to get more sleep by co-sleeping. I mean, it really just depends on what you got going on and how your child sleeps. And I found that I eventually, once I got this whole idea in my head that I needed to put my child in a crib, I slept a lot better. And I was a little bit more relaxed. I was just a little bit more open to the idea of co-sleeping, I guess. And I was like, you know what? So I guess there were times where co-sleeping felt hard, but it's because in the back of my mind, I felt like I was not doing what I needed to do, and like I was failing in when it came to sleep. And I was like, this is why she's not sleeping well, because maybe she is sleeping with me, but that was not the case. She just was a terrible sleeper all around. Didn't matter if she slept with me or didn't sleep with me. But most times, if she did sleep with me, she did sleep a little better because I'm right next to her. And so even if she did wake up, she was only up for like 10 seconds, 20 seconds before she realized I'm right next to her, and she would just cuddle right back up and go back to sleep. Versus if she was in the crib and she would wake up, by the time I heard her and I walked over, it probably was already like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, sometimes longer, because there were times where I accidentally did not put the volume of the baby monitor up. My mistake. And she has definitely cried a lot longer than needed. And those nights I have felt like more of a failure than anything else, because like my heart would just break knowing that she was in there crying her heart out for that long. So anyway, fast forward to where we are now. We are trying for baby number 2, and well, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. Back in December, or back in November, Maya had a cold, like a pretty like heavy cold. So we just permanently brought her to the bed, and then after that she had the flu and all this other stuff. So then we just kind of kept her in the bed, and honestly, like, we love it. We just kind of kept her there, and I love waking up next to her and having her give me morning kisses and hugs. It's wonderful. So now fast forward, once we have pretty much established that like we want to co-sleep, and I have learned a lot about co-sleeping by talking to other mothers and just doing a little bit of research myself. And so when we got to we were trying for baby number 2. So I reached out to this mom group that I'm a part of, and I messaged them, and I wanted to know if anybody co-sleeps, or if they co-sleep with multiple children, like what they did, or if they co-sleep like they had their second child, how did they get their child to transition back into the crib. So we were thinking maybe we'll eventually work Maya back into the crib when we have the second child, or when I'm really, really pregnant and I'm not looking forward to getting kicked in the belly or in the face and the throat, as it may happen sometimes from co-sleeping. And by then we had also stopped breastfeeding, so Maya was already like sleeping through the night pretty well. So she's almost 1.5 years now. We stopped breastfeeding when she was 13 months. She kind of did it herself. I tried to like give her a little bit back, but she didn't want it, and then I just said okay, and it's been wonderful. But anyway, so when I reached out to this mom group, there was a mom who's like messaged me on the side and was like, hey, look, we co-sleep with our daughter. Here's this great book that you can buy. It's called Better Sleep. I think the La Leche League, yeah, I think I'm saying it right. They're the ones who wrote the book, and you can find it on Amazon for like 15 or 16 bucks, which I would recommend if you want to sleep with co-sleep with multiple children, or if you just want to co-sleep with just one child. So when she kind of told me what she had going on, she said, also, we did this thing called a sidecar. And another mom messaged me and said, yeah, like we also did this thing called a sidecar. And I was like, what is that? So I went online, got lost in all the YouTube videos that were out there. I was like, this is genius. I mean, we already upgraded our bed from a queen to a king, so we already have a lot of room in the bed for the three of us. But I would have liked more room, and especially if we do want to have all four of us in a bed here, I'm definitely going to want even more room. I will show you guys what a sidecar looks like if you don't know, and I will show you pretty much like all the engineering I did and how I attached it to our bed. And you can kind of see right here, this is the crib that we brought over that was in her room, but it has been wonderful. She sleeps on that side, and in the morning she'll wake up and she'll snuggle up onto me because I'll sleep right here. It's been like a game changer, let me tell you. So if you are co-sleeping and you have the option to do a sidecar arrangement, please consider it. It has been amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like. Like I said, how I kind of engineered it, got it up to height with our bed. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy. I think it's just like spit all over to the camera. I'm sick, by the way. This is my second time making this video. I made this like a month ago. I'm always making like the same video 7-8 freaking times, but thankfully this is the second time and I think I'm okay with this. But the first time I didn't really like what I did there, or I felt like I didn't show you guys in detail what I wanted to show you with the sidecar arrangement that I have. So I was gonna wait until I was no longer sick and got a little bit of my voice back, but I really didn't want to go on any longer than I have been in procrastinating and making this video for the second time. So I just decided to make it. So I hope my voice doesn't bother you, and I hope that you enjoy this. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I would gladly answer them. I'll probably put the book that I mentioned, Better Sleep, in the link. There's another book that my friend mentioned, and I messaged her, and she hasn't gotten back to me yet. I'm going to put that in the, I'm gonna like link that book in Amazon as well. And that book, honestly, I don't remember who wrote it or what it's called, but it's pretty much talking you through safe ways of co-sleeping and like when you shouldn't co-sleep. So I hadn't read it, but it sounds really interesting. I will buy it and I will read it. So anyway, I hope this works for you and you understand what we got going on and you enjoy it. So love you guys. Mwah! All right, so this is what our sidecar arrangement looks like. We have the Baby Leto 3-in-1 crib, which means, so you have like the standard crib, which we have another identical piece like this one that goes over here. And then you can take that out and you can put like a toddler rail when your child is transitioning into like a big kid bed. Or you can take this side out completely and then it becomes a big kid bed. So that's what we did. We took this side out completely and we butted it up to our bed. And originally I did not secure it. I wanted to see what that was going to be like, and I quickly learned that it will slide to the other side. And so I did some engineering and secured it to our bed, got it up to a good height, and Yes, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to undress the bed, take the mattress out completely, and just show you how I secured it to our bed, and then how I kind of got the height to match the height of our bed or our mattress. So I'll show you guys that. Okay, so I undressed the entire bed. So before I got these straps, the bed would kind of slide towards the wall, and because we have these two windows, I didn't really want to move the bed out of the center to butt this against the wall. It just was gonna look really wonky in here. I feel like it already looks pretty wonky in here, so I wanted to get something that I could strap the crib into our bed. So I had two options. I went on like Google and looked around to see what everybody else was doing. So I saw bungee cords was one of the popular things most people had to use, but I wasn't a really big fan of that because bungee cords can snap, and if for any reason, I don't know, I mean, like, our crib is not high enough that like Maya's not really going to get under there. But anyway, just in case they snapped, I just really wasn't into that. So I wanted to get some ratchet straps, but I didn't want to get those really big bulky ones, and I did not want to get the metal ones. So I got these plastic ones from Home Depot, and they work really well. So honestly, this is what I would recommend doing. And I also was not too keen on like drilling some holes into my bed, because I had seen some people do that where they like drilled some holes into the bed, and they got depending on what their crib looks like, they were able to like get another piece of wood and screw the crib onto the bed pretty much. So I didn't want to do that, so I just got the ratchet straps, and I just put two of them, not all the way to the end, but not all the way too close to the center, just kind of in that like quarter, like if I had to divide the bed into fours, so this would be a quarter, a half, 3/4, and the full, right? So I did it to where it was like a quarter from one side and like 3/4, or a quarter from the other side. And then because I needed to add some height, I have this like quilted blanket that I put under. So I'm gonna put that under, and I'm gonna show you what I did with that. Okay, so I laid this down, and the way that I folded it, like taco style, it ended up being almost the same length of the crib with a little bit left over, but that's okay because I do have the mattress like butted more closer to my bed, so there's actually like a lot of space here. And then I'll show you what I do with that space too when I get there. But you don't have to do this. I mean, I did this because I just didn't want to pay extra money. I already got a crib topper, a crib mattress topper. Let me show you. So I already bought one of these for 50 bucks, and I will eventually probably buy another one, but in the meantime, I just had this and it works, and it got the mattress up to the same height of our mattress, so it kind of works. But after this, so I'm gonna put the crib, or I'm sorry, I'm gonna put the mattress down now. All right, so I have the mattress in there, and I actually didn't realize that I had two crib sheets on there, so I took the purple one off, which I think it was due for a wash anyway. And this is a quilt that was underneath. I just kind of pulled it through so that the quilt is under the mattress. It's just a little bit more straighter and smoother. But what I'm gonna do is I am actually going to tuck this in because it's not thick enough to where it can create a good solid stuffing, I guess. And if I were to leave it like this, it would still definitely, I mean, this is a significant amount of space since I have butted the the mattress all the way to our mattress, I have to do something with this space. So I actually have this blanket, which is my husband's like old Power Ranger blanket that we definitely no longer use. And I did some folding to it, and I'm going to stuff that in there, and I'll show you what that looks like. So yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so you can see that a lot of it comes out. I mean, Maya's a year and a half, so I'm not really worried about her like suffocating or anything like that. I probably wouldn't do this with a younger child if I'm worried that they're going to suffocate, but I don't really have a worry about that. And no, it does not look very attractive. They definitely make things that are a little bit more attractive. You can find them on Amazon, and a couple of other companies make what is it called, like little bumpers that are actually just this size. Like they don't even have to go around the whole entire crib. They're actually supposed to sit on the top of the crib. On top of the mattress, but you can actually stuff it. And they are far more attractive than what I got going on here. But I wanted to be a little bit cheaper, work with what I have, and also just show you like you can work with what you got, you know. I also do want to let you know that we did bring the height of the mattress up a little bit, but it's not at its height. So at its highest, it was a little bit too high. At one notch lower, it was a little bit too low. So we kind of have it where I still had to work with it, which is why I had to put the quilt underneath. And I do have the topper, excuse me. But yeah, so some people may not even have to do any of those things. If you wiggle with the height adjustments of your crib, you may get to a height where it perfectly gets to the height of your bed's and your mattress's height. So, and of course we have to have everything Anna and Elsa here. So I'm just gonna put the bed together. I have 2 blankets for her. I got this one from, I think it was like Home Goods, like the children's section. They have a lot of like cute stuff there for a very great price. It's like nice. It's kind of like a down comforter. This is what it feels like. And then this is my favorite. This is one of Kate Quinn Organics linen quilts, and it's like just thick enough where it keeps her warm, but it's pretty thin and light enough to not like overheat her. So yep, that's what it looks like. Excuse me, I'm like a little sick. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. Show you all my layers. And then I have this on this side, the Design Dua bassinet, and I put a Snuggle Me inside of it. So when we do have another child, I'll probably have them sleep in this. And then at that point, my husband will sleep on this side with Maya, and I will come back to this side to attend to the new baby. And then probably when the child's like 3 to 4 months, we will bring them to the bed, just like what we did with Maya. Maya sleeps through the night in her bed the entire time, like ever since we've done this. I don't know why we haven't done it any sooner. If you're struggling like I did, if you have a bad sleeper, or even if you don't have a bad sleeper and you want to co-sleep, but maybe your bed is a little too small and you know you just want a little bit more room, but you still want to be next to your baby and you want to snuggle through the night, if you want that option, I would definitely recommend giving this a try. So I hope you guys found this useful, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll link the 2 books that I spoke about. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.